and welcome to another StoreSuite webinar. My name is Taylor Johnson. I'm the Director of Marketing at StoreSuite. And today we have a webinar for you that's called What Your Low-Cost Website is Really Costing You. So for today, the reason why we wanted to do this webinar is really just to educate operators as to what the benefits of spending money on a website versus what may be included within your facility management software. With the current state of the market, we know that saving cost is of the utmost importance to most operators. And with that, they are looking at this as an option. As marketers, we also look at the website and its importance within the marketing ecosystem and what it brings to the storage facility and how many rentals it can bring for your facility. And so we just really want to educate operators as to what the options are, what the differences are, so that you can make the best decision for your facility. If you're not familiar with StoreSuite, StoreSuite offers a variety of services, one of which is a full service marketing agency, and we build and develop our own websites. And so obviously we are biased in this, in that we believe that a website does have inherent value, but we also know that those operational decisions are in your hands, and you need to do what's best for your facility. So that's really my goal here, is just to bring that educational aspect to what your website may bring you in terms of value and what are the costs of those decisions that you're making. The truth about most storage websites is that operators assume that if their site works, it's doing its job. It may get you rental, it may integrate with your facility management software, but there is a little bit of a performance difference in what those websites can do with some of the products that are out on the market, including our own. These sites can range from a facility management software site. It can be a marketing agency, or like a traditional marketing agency that maybe doesn't specialize in storage. So those are kind of the options that we're talking about here when we talk about a low-cost website. It could also be your friend who maybe knows how to build websites or says that they can build websites. So those are kind of what we're talking about when we're talking about low-cost websites. Why is this a problem? They're not built to maximize conversions for the storage industry, and they limit visibility when it comes to your marketing ecosystem. So when you look at marketing, you want to look at it as everything is working together. Everything from your SEO, your Google Ads, your community marketing, your website, obviously, all those pieces play a part in what we call your marketing ecosystem. And your website is the headquarters of that. So it plays a huge role in when we're driving traffic, we're driving it to your website. So if your website doesn't convert, or it's not optimized, or it's not improving with the times, you're really limiting yourself on how many leads or conversions you can drive to your website and ultimately to your facility. So the market has changed a lot, kind of like what I mentioned here at the beginning. We're definitely not in 2020 or 2021 at the peak of COVID and the boom that happened within the storage industry. And we're definitely seeing occupancies stagnate a little bit. Not necessarily, some of it is dipping, some of it is kind of staying the same, but we're not at the same growth trajectory that we once were. And with that, we're making operational decisions. Some of us are small operators. Some of us have a portfolio of facilities, and some of us are large operators. Large operators right now are investing heavily in Google Ads, digital performance, customer experience on their websites. Some are going remote and implementing technologies to be able to go remote. So how do you, as a facility operator, compete with some of the money that's being pushed into the market by large operators? It's more competitive than ever. Most storage websites don't keep up with those low-cost websites don't keep up with some of those changes that are being forced into the market right now. And your website is your virtual headquarters. It's where everything gets pushed to. It's where customers go to price shop. We all know this. We know that how important the website is. We just want to make sure that it's as optimized as possible, especially in the current market conditions. It's really not about, you're not going to see extreme boom growth like we did in 2021. So how can you optimize the little things to make sure you are maximizing conversions and lead generation as much as possible? It's those little things that really make a difference to revenue growth at the end of the year and your NOI. And as an operator, you also need to understand the trade-offs. You need to understand, you need to be able to make that decision, and that's where the educational piece comes in. So I'm happy that you're here to learn. How do you end up with a low-cost website? I think it's pretty straightforward. It's a great deal. You're already paying for your facility management software, which can be a large cost, especially if you're a small facility or smaller operation. The website comes bundled with your management software. It's positioned as good enough. It may not be the most high-tech piece, but it gets rentals. It links with your software. It's good to go. The other thing is that a lot of facilities are actually moving away from website or marketing providers who are building websites or custom builds, that kind of thing, because of the need to control expenses right now. And it's easy to accept it and move on and then keep on going and really just kind of go with the status quo. So really, it's just about convenience. It's a very convenient option for most operators, and it may be the right option for your facility. But we're going to kind of show you what those trade-offs are with these products. Low-cost websites typically refer to sites as bundled management with the management software. We kind of talked about that already. They're designed to be easy, but they have some limitations. Not number one, but one of the really big trade-offs for us as marketers and for you as operators is the information that you're able to get and the ecosystem that I was talking about before. There are gaps within the data and tracking. A lot of them have very limited fields for being able to track conversions. And what this means is that if you are running something like Google Ads, there is conversion tracking that needs to be set up so that you know that when you're putting money into Google, spending out all kinds of money, that you are being able to see and track where that money is going, if it's going onto your website, if leads are coming onto your website, and if they're clicking on buttons, if they're making phone calls, if they're setting up reservations on your website. That is all done with conversion tracking and data. And so a lot of times with those box websites, that's kind of how I refer to them, can be very limited in what conversion tracking is available to you. So you may not know how Google search engine is converting. You may not know that it's effective. Maybe you know that there's rentals coming in, but you're not really sure where they're coming in. All of that data really limits the decisions that you're making on knowing what's working and what's not. And this is huge for us as marketers. This is a huge sticking point for us because without the data, we're just kind of flying blind and hoping that what we're doing is making a difference. But in a time when we're trying to control costs, understanding the dollars that you're putting in and the dollars that you're getting out are extremely important. And you need those visibility on those drop-off points. So the drop-off points are, okay, well, if someone's coming onto the website and maybe they're clicking into your form, where are they dropping off within that process? Do you have access to that data? I think that's something that you should ask yourself. If you do have access to it, that's great. If you don't, you may want to look at areas or people that can provide that to you. Another thing that those softwares or those box websites where they fall short is in the local search visibility. And this is also another big one that we see. You'll see that what's promoted is that it has SEO included. And what I'd like to kind of debunk is that SEO isn't just one thing. If your website is searchable on Google, technically it's indexed, and so it kind of has SEO, and so therefore as a marketer you can say that it includes SEO. There's also some other really simple things that it can include and say that there's SEO, but SEO is a very broad term. There's a lot that goes into it, and it is a long-term play. It does take time to kind of improve your ranking within the search indexes, but also we now have AI, and there's a lot of information swirling around about how to get ranked within AI. How do you keep up with the times? Are those websites doing it? And from our perspective, the kind of box or cookie cutter way and structure that the websites are made with in these box websites don't really optimize for long-term SEO play. There's very limited areas for you to be able to edit, to be able to add content. You're not able to add kind of location-specific content. So Geo page is kind of a term that marketers use, and it's creating pages that are going to help you boost your rankings within SEO, within the like Google or other search indexes, or as well as on AI platforms. And then you're not able to do other things like internal linking. So there's a lot that goes into SEO, and I don't want to bog you down with the technical aspects of it because it can get a little bit technical. But just know that SEO is extremely broad, and being able to have flexibility within content is extremely important to improving your rankings. So if you're not able to do that, and if you find that you're not really ranking up to the competition within your local markets, that is something that you may want to look at, or what levers do you have to control that would be able to improve your SEO and improve your rankings. You want to be able to show those popular phrases, the storage near me or storage in whatever your location is. Those are extremely important, and we're all fighting for the same keywords. So what is your website doing for you to be able to differentiate yourself? Their trade-off is mobile experience, and this is really hit or miss. We are definitely in modern times, and most websites say that they are responsive. However, I have noticed several box websites that customers have come to me with, and there's overlapping things that inhibit where you click or where you can hit rent, and it's not super intuitive. It seems kind of messy. The spacing is kind of off. And I know that your ability to fix that is also going to be extremely limited with these. The mobile usage being at its peak and only increasing, really. Most customers are using their mobile phone to rent a unit these days. A vast majority, I would say it's somewhere between 60% of users are using their mobile phones to rent. So are you optimized for that? And the last one is lack of support. This is something I hear so often with new customers who come to us and have us, build their own website. One of the reasons why they like to make that switch is because they've had a lack of support. When something breaks or underperforms, they need help. They want to add a banner. They are trying to differentiate themselves from the competition through, revenue management tactics, and they're not able to advertise it. I had a conversation with a gentleman who has to go into the back end of his website and update every unit type and manually write out what the specials are for each unit type. I didn't think that was very common anymore, but there are people that are out there who are still doing this and operationally have to operate that way. I can't even imagine the time and the headache that would take whenever you want to change a special. And there's so many opportunities for mistakes there. So that was just one example, but I thought it was kind of an extreme example, but we don't want you doing that. You have much better things to be doing than manually entering in specials for every unit type. And if you had multiple facilities, man, that would be quite the headache. So with that, what you want is support, right? You want to be able to talk to a human and get guidance and support and be able to have that feedback in a timely way so that you can make those changes and you can operate as you wish, and your website will support it. This is something that we really emphasize within our company is our response time and having that opportunity for human interaction and human ideas and marketing strategists who know what they're doing and can help you through whatever you're trying to change operationally on your end, and it's reflected on the website. Well, here's where we kind of go into what it actually costs. So we have a breakdown of just some examples here of what are the opportunities that you're missing. There's not a line item for lost rentals. You don't necessarily know how many opportunities have been missed. And if you're not getting the data, you may not know those drop-off points either. And so you really don't know what the cost is, but I'm going to break it down here. So using some generic numbers, I tried to make it kind of average for one facility. So just bear with me. I think you'll get the idea here. So not all traffic is equal, right? When we give our marketing reports, we see that there's sessions, there's new user sessions, and then there's, various types of traffic in there from search or from Google, et cetera. So let's say on average you receive 300 visitors on the unit feed page. That's the one that's most important. We could make that number bigger and have it be like the home page, but you'll get a lot of bot traffic or a lot of people just, randomly clicking on your site. So these are kind of more intentional, kind of based on that unit feed page. 300 visitors per month per facility. So this is just one facility example. 30% we'll say is bill pay traffic, not converting into rentals. They come on their website routinely. So that leaves us with 210 potential new customers, or people that might be price shopping, people who may be moving in the future. All of that could be within that 210. Now, what happens when you look at an average conversion rate of traffic on the website? 3 to 5% is about average. So if we did 4%, that's 8 rentals out of that 210. You're only converting about 2.5%. That's about five rentals versus the 8. Doesn't seem like a big difference until I kind of break down the numbers. Three missed rentals. In a conservative average, we'll say the monthly rent is $120 per month, with an average tenant length of stay of 12 months. And the customer lifetime value then equals about $1,440 per tenant. So then if you calculate that, the 3 missed rentals, the difference between the 2.5% conversion and the 4% conversion, you're looking at a difference of $4,320 per month, which annually would be $51,000 and $51,840. That's the gap between those 3 rentals, and why it's so important to optimize those little things. That little bit of difference, that conversion rate, makes such an impact on your annual income and your NOI. And what that means is that you're going to have lower occupancy. You're more reliant on discounts. You have higher paid marketing pressure. So it puts more pressure, and you have to put more money into Google Ads to try to fill in that gap, when you could just be optimizing the user experience maybe, and having it work within the ecosystem to be able to optimize those things that you're already doing and the money that you're already spending instead of spending. And that's why understanding where that money is going is so important, is because it's not just about throwing more money at it. Sometimes it's about improving the things that you're already doing, that marketing ecosystem piece. You get more calls from confused customers, more abandoned rentals, and more staff time spent answering basic questions if you don't have that on your website, or it's not easily found, or you're not able to edit it because you've changed something, or it's not your facility is not being accurately represented on your website. Here's what high-performing websites do a little bit differently. They prioritize conversion, like I've been talking about. Prioritizing conversions means optimizing what you're already doing and then expanding upon that. One thing I like to say is that marketing will not save your business. It will not. There is no magic pill when it comes to marketing. We can't just say something a little bit different and then boom, that turns the faucet on of tenants or potential customers. Really, what marketing is about, it's about amplifying what you're already doing. So for us, looking at the data, looking at what you're doing, seeing where the areas where we can optimize and making that run well, and then turning on the faucet, that's kind of the order of operations that we like to do, so that you're not just throwing money at a problem. High-performing websites reduce friction. So that's that optimization piece. So we're looking at everything from checkout flow. We're looking at where those drop-off points are, what pages they're dropping off at, where you're ranking within Google, where you're ranking within other search engines like Bing, or seeing where you're showing up within your local listings or Apple Maps. Being able to look at all of those points and identify where there might be friction or confusion, having really clear pricing, simple paths, and no unnecessary steps within the process. And they're built for search. So this is that SEO, the SEO piece. So search, the SEO, it should be structured. There's technical SEO that's on the back end of your website that structures the site in a certain way. And that's kind of the basis of what Google and the robots do to kind of go in and assess where you should be ranked. And also from a AI perspective, I had another great conversation about this at the last trade show. I had a gentleman ask me that they've been doing everything that they can to improve their ranking on AI, whether that's ChatGPT or Gemini or all the other ones, Claude. He was asking, what's the magic thing? What can I do to be the one that they're always talking about? And the way that I framed this for him was that you kind of have to get into the mind of what those products, what the goal of those products, and this goes for Google as well. The goal of those products is to give the user the best information possible. The goal for the products isn't to, they don't have bias necessarily with one company over the next, unless they're paying for it. They don't have any skin in the game in terms of like you over somebody else. They're really just trying to identify the right information for the right person and making sure that they get the most accurate information so that that person comes back and continues to use that product because it trusts it and it's delivering the best product possible. So with that, I said that there is no magic pill. There's no hacking your way into the system. You can't just create a whole bunch of pages that, spam a particular keyword and then somehow that gets integrated within the AI. These systems are becoming very smart and very intelligent and understand all of that. And so for us, it's really just about making sure that your facility is accurately represented, that it's structured correctly, technically, so that when those things are coming to your website and downloading all that information, that what's reflected back to the customer is exactly like what you have on your website. So more content that's accurate, that's truthful, having people talk about your website or having your facility in a positive way. It gathers information from all of those places. I've even seen Reddit comments being pulled as source for some information that I'm getting back from ChatGPT or Gemini or what have you. So these systems are becoming very intelligent. You're not going to outsmart the system. What you're going to do is you're going to have the technical structure of the website that will allow you to be amplified by these AI engines. I also like to talk about flexibility here. Flexibility is so important because you are the one in the driver's seat. It's not us as marketers. We're not driving the boat. You are the captain of the ship. You are doing things on an operational level that you want then reflected back into your website or that you need to have a marketer execute on. Being able to have that flexibility as your business changes and grows, making sure that your website can change and grow. And this goes for technology as well. I think this goes back to the AI conversation that we were just having. Technology has shifted so fast. In the past 2 years, I remember when I first started using ChatGPT and it came onto the market and I'm like, what is this? And that was only a couple years ago. And now we're very good friends, Chat and I. I don't have a name for it, but maybe in the future, I just call it Chat for now. But that's a good example of making sure that your products and your website can change and grow as technology changes and grows and as standards, best practices and standards change. Your website should keep up with those things, as well as your business grows or changes, or you need to shift how the checkout process is, or you install a new technology or are starting to use a different technology within your tech stack, do your pieces work together, or can you work with your vendor to make sure that they work together? I think that's also the key, is do they have the flexibility to be able to work with you, or are you kind of SOL if you are adding something to your tech stack and your vendor doesn't support it? We like to say that we're flexible, and we have developers on staff, so we can build it if need be. And the last thing is constantly improving. So another piece that's extremely important is that your product isn't just built and then you walk away and it's the same product. The important thing is that it's constantly improving and adding features. And as those standards change, does the actual product evolve and change? Are there new things being added to your facility management software that are being reflected, or new features or new technologies that can be integrated onto the website, or new ideas on how checkout processes can evolve? Does your vendor allow for that improvement within its own product? And is it prompted by you, or are they making those changes in the background unprompted? So here's where the self-assessment checklist comes in. I think it's extremely important for all operators to do their own audit of their website to see how it's performing. So that means understanding that your pricing and your facility information is clear. Units and availability update when you make changes. I think that's a given. Although with that guy who has to manually update specials, maybe not so much. Checkout process works smoothly on mobile and desktop. Does it load within under 3 seconds? 3 seconds is kind of where you want to be. It can be quite difficult for a lot of websites to get there, but it is possible, especially a storage website, because there's a lot of like API stuff. There's pinging that's going on in the background. So sometimes the processing time can be slower, but does it reach that 3 seconds, or is it close? That's kind of what you're aiming for. Is it optimized for search engines? Are you happy with where you're ranking on Google? Have you been able to see where you're ranking within AI and on the different AI platforms? One thing I do recommend when you are doing the search engine audit, you may have difficulty getting an accurate reflection of where you're ranking, because you may have searched for your facility or go to your facility website quite frequently. And so Google will kind of shift where you're placed because of the user that you are, or the kind of searching that you're doing and you're in storage. There are tools out there to be able to kind of get an unbiased look at where you may be consistently ranking, but just know that when you are doing your own search, and same with ads, you may say that you're not appearing, but it's going to be different for you if you are in your website and in storage and doing, competitor analysis and looking at other competitors. If you're searching for storage terms a lot of those actual results can be skewed. So look for tools that allow you to kind of get an unbiased look. Or we can do a free assessment of those rankings as well, if you kind of want a good look at where you're ranking on those platforms. The next thing is answering common questions. This is a huge one. Do you have FAQs? Are you able to add and change those FAQs? Are you able to add those content pages as you need, or as you feel like that would improve your rankings or improve your tenant experience? Do the managers trust the checkout flow? Are you happy with the checkout flow and the post lease and process notifications and confirmation emails and all of that? Are you happy with that? And do they understand that process? And does the website reduce calls instead of creating them? I think that's another huge one. So going through that assessment, doing your own audit on experience. The other thing I always recommend is if you have a friend or family that's not in the storage industry, I would hope that we have at least one friend outside of the storage industry. If you have someone that you can ask them to do an audit, go through the entire process, including cash, and then just send them the refund at the low cost to be able to kind of get some feedback on how your website is performing from a kind of unbiased or non-storage industry insight. So you kind of get a quick look at what a tenant might be experiencing and in layman's terms. So the better approach that we recommend is that a website is built to convert. It's connected to your marketing ecosystem and evolves with your business. With those kind of three basic things, that's really the key to being able to avoid some of those pitfalls that we had previously talked about at the beginning of the web, where we're talking about not being able to convert, not understanding where customers are dropping off, being able to optimize within your marketing ecosystem and understand what's working and not working. And then as your business is changing and evolving, your website needs to change and evolve. Please don't just set it and forget it. Within our own team, where we build, we own and manage our own facilities as well, we're constantly being asked to make changes as we, are changing things on an operational level. That's also how we build and develop those tools, because we have that immediate feedback within our own stores. I hope that you found this valuable here. With this particular topic, I know it's one where people are very much weighing their options, but at some point the good enough does become expensive. If you think about those, even just a few rentals being missed, are you optimizing your website in the way that you can? And do you even have the ability to do that? So if you would like to see what our website can do, some of the changes and technologies and things that we've implemented within our website product, our storefront website product, feel free to book a call. That's my email there. Again, my name is Taylor. I am the director of marketing. So you would work with me and my team. I've got an entire team of marketing strategists, ad strategists. I have developers, every product owners. We're constantly working to provide the best product possible and the best service possible. Feel free to book a call there. Or if you were just in it for the education, I hope that you found this valuable. Happy to answer any additional questions. Feel free to shoot me an email. I really am passionate about people who are entrepreneurial and trying to run businesses and making sure that you have the best education and the best information possible to be able to make those operational decisions. So thank you again for attending. And I hope that you all have a wonderful day, and we will see you on the next one.